Well, hi folks, I hope you're well. Just a quick adjustment to the old camera. Excuse me. There we are. Happens every time. Well folks, I want to talk about politicians. I know it's a bad, horrible word. It just gives you this nauseous feeling, even the word politician. Because I think that we should all get clear in our minds as why is it that no matter who you vote in, who Conservatives, National Party, whatever team you vote in, the overall state of the country and the agenda seems to remain the same. That there are common denominators. It doesn't matter if it's Conservatives, Liberal, Labour, whatever, Communist Party. It really doesn't matter who's in government, quite frankly. Because behind all the kippers and curtains, that's what it is, all kippers and curtains with politicians. We all want change and we all want, I'll wait till Labour get in and then afterwards it's, Social Democrats and then it's, the Liberals and, oh my God, the list goes, it's like a merry-go-round of bloody idiots, isn't it? They're all, well, most of them are, public school toffs. And it's one big club and you're not in it, and nor am I, thank goodness. If ever you wonder why nothing seems to change, the only thing is, you see, they're putting on a different dinner suit, but the agenda in their own minds of all the politicians standing up in the Houses of Parliament and the House of Lords, it's all the same. And the reason nothing changes, regardless of who gets in, bar a few little victories here and there, there's nothing great to write home about. We never seem to be further forward, do we? It's always, we will fight them on the beaches, speeches coming out of these a-holes. But one thing is, I don't think I would last terribly long in any job that I did if I had several jobs on the side. Because how can you do your job to the best of your ability if you're voted in as a politician in the Houses of Parliament? But then you have other vested interests, you have directorships, you have shareholder meetings that you're involved with, and they're not just spending their time when they should be politicians for our service, at our service, for the culture, for the party. No, they've got their fingers in other pies because they don't put all their eggs in one career basket, do they? And it's, as I said, it's a big club and you're not in it. It's a license to print money becoming a politician. That's without a doubt, because you immediately get voted in as a politician and you're a newbie. You get offered all sorts of directorships and endorsement things, and you do this for us, we'll scratch your back, you scratch ours, and there isn't one of them that isn't on the take, quite frankly. I mean, Nigel Farage, much as I like him, he's got directorships all over the place. He's involved in other companies. He's not giving his 100% to the people for the people, is he? He's not for the people, but he gives that impression, but he's got other directorships, he's got other business interests. He's a pretty wealthy guy, Nigel Farage. He's one of the upper income brackets in the whole of the politician lot. But, give it time, he'll become more and more prosperous as time goes on. I've never met a broke politician. Let's be honest with you, because they don't seem to leave broke, because they get offered all sorts of directorships. Because what they do while they're politicians, folks, is they're feathering the nest quick before they get outvoted or get voted out. And I don't blame them. Don't blame them. They've got family, kids, friends, public school fees to pay for the brats. But what good is it doing? I would have made it quite a clear rule, if I was the king, to say politicians would have one job. If they're members of Parliament, they have no outside interests but to serve the party that has been, they're working for. So Labour will serve Labour, and Liberal, Conservatives will serve Conservatives, etc. But you will not stray. You can change parties by all means. Change your allegiances as you wish. If if that's the way you float your boat. But you're not going to have external business interests. If you get paid a salary as a politician from the government, from the British people's taxes, you will do that one sole job. You will represent the people that voted you in, full stop. So, if, you just haven't got time, you haven't got around to it. Have you ever heard that? I'll do it when I get around to it. Well, I've never seen around to it. Have you seen around to it? I'll do it when I get around to it. Well, you don't seem to ever have around to it, do you? Because you haven't done it. Yeah, but I'm still waiting for a reply off my honourable gentleman. What's honourable about them? There are politicians in the Houses of Parliament amongst the most corrupt people on the universe, or on the planet. I've never met one I really liked or trusted, ever. The only one I really, really, really respected in my time, and I do remember him being alive, was Enoch Powell. Now that is a statesman and a politician. He had no other business interest outside being a politician. None. He was bound and career-orientated, laser-sharp, and he had a fantastic military history, if you only look at the history of Enoch Powell. But tell me, have the other politicians done any military service much at all? Have they been to war? Have they served their country? Have they been put in danger? Enoch Powell was. And he knew how to fight for his country, didn't he? This statesman, this wonderful statesman, the moment he called them screaming pickaninnies, and he was vilified, but he was right, wasn't he, just? And he got beat up for it by bloody Ted Heath, who the white cloud man, he's got a bloody sailor. Ted Heath, incidentally, was a provable paedophile. It was just very hush. Him and his Morning Cloud yacht used to have little boys visiting him. What a surprise. Allegedly. And those little boys would never seem to come back. What happened to them? What story did they tell their mummy when they got home? I don't think they got home. Went missing, apparently. Do your research on Ted Heath. Allegedly a bit of a kiddie fiddler and a bit of a sadist. I mean, and he despised our friend Enoch Powell, didn't he? He hated Enoch Powell. But Enoch spoke the truth. So, I'll leave it at that with Heath, but they should do some serious investigations into Mr. Ted Heath. I'm sure that if you read David Icke books, you'll know that he had a very strange meeting with Ted Heath, happened to be in a changing room at the BBC getting his hair cleaned, and then he turned round to look at David Icke in the changing in the room before they got all made up, don't they, and their hair done. And Ted Heath, when he looked at David Icke, had absolutely black eyes. And there was no reaction. The guy just looked at David Icke with eyes as dark and black as hell. And he made no comment, and he just simply looked away. And this is what you get with possessed people, because they sold their souls to the devil, quite frankly. You'll find that all the major politicians in the Houses of Parliament, they get invited to all sorts of little clubs. There's one called the Bullingdon Club, isn't there? Well, I won't go on about that quite now, I haven't got time, but yes, the Bullingdon Club. And most of them are ex-Oxford or Cambridge. You don't want to admit you went to Nottingham Uni, do you really? Unless you're studying medicine, I suppose. But, it's all shit, isn't it, really? Our Houses of Parliament, our Parliament's a screaming joke. And it's all about tradition and rah, yeah, here, and they suddenly wake up and clap here and here like a bunch of seals, and they go back to sleep again because they've been too busy burning the midnight oil on behalf of another company that is well outside their job roles, but they've got multiple jobs, as I said before. They've got multiple streams of income. And I don't think politicians should have multiple streams of income. I should think that they get paid by the Crown, and that is that. No, sorry, you don't have second interests. How can you be loyal to your voters and your people of the country you're supposed to serve if all you're interested in is serving yourself and your own family by earning as much money as you can by doing wheels and deals on the side? Because you're supposed to be giving your all as a politician, the same as we all give our all to our jobs when we're employed. And politicians get so many perks: first class rail, extra help if they have to go into London, they get fed. Look at the House of Lords. They go there, they have a full cooked breakfast, first class train on the way there to London, and yes, they get claimed allowances also just for attending. They don't even have to contribute anything, they just attend. And they go, oh, here, Lord, the right honourable gentleman. What right honourable bloody gentleman? They haven't got any honour. They really haven't. And this is why nothing changes in our society. It's a big club, folks. You've heard of the Garrett Club, but you're not going to be a member of the Garrett Club, are you? Nor am I. You've got to be seriously special and well connected to get invited to be. You can't apply, you have to be invited, and you're inducted into the. Well, no, I don't think it's good enough for the club. It's a bit riff-raff. Keir Starmer's probably in it. But the strange thing is, on the TV, they all seem to hate each other, these Conservative, Labour, Liberal, Democrat, you name them. I've lost count. And yet behind the scenes, all champers and, once the BBC have buggered off and it's not televised anymore, they can do what they want and, who's knocking off who's the big agenda, and she's not sleeping with her personal secretary, is she? It's disgusting. And politicians used to be, a long time ago, honourable gentlemen. And yet they consider saying that to each other, even a right honourable gentleman. What's right honourable about them? You know all the dirt on them. That's the great thing about having a press, a free press, and the internet now, because you can get down and dirty with this stuff, can't you? And it'll be in the Sunday news, and it'll be on the front page, but the politicians just deny it and brush it off, and public have a short memory, and they'll still get voted in. But how did somebody as wet as Keir Starmer become the Labour leader for a start? Never mind the bloody Prime Minister. I mean, the guy's a communist. It's blatant that he's a communist. Everything he touches, he's got the Midas touch in reverse. Everything he touches turns to shit. Not to gold. This guy, you don't want him touching anything because he'll just destroy it, because we know he's a commie. And half the Labour Party know he's a communist. How did that wet lettuce become Prime Minister? Well, it's a bad day to vote, really, because it was raining most of the country and nobody really got out to vote. I think if it was done properly on a good day, fair wind behind us, folks, Labour wouldn't have got in. But sadly he's in. But we've got to get him out. But you see, no matter which politician becomes a Prime Minister, they all break their promises. Maggie Thatcher did. I can name them. Ted Heath, Harold Wilson. I mean, look at that grave that Harold Wilson is buried in. It's right up north and nobody goes to tend the grave and it's a mess. It looks like a pauper's grave. That is the Prime Minister, Harold Wilson, who smoked a pipe, and he was another wet lettuce. What is it about the politicians? There's not a man amongst them that's going to stand up and take it on the chin for the country's best interests, or the people's best interests, and obviously the people have the best interests of the country. If they're British with a valid passport, You see, that's another thing. If you haven't got a British passport, right, or you can prove that you're British with a British birth certificate, you're gone. That's it. Bye. That's the way you get your houses back and your land back and your sanity back and your more money coming in and save a fortune. We have to deport. You know, I think that it was horrible what happened to the Jews by the Germans. It was dreadful what they did. Instead of gassing them all, why didn't they just deport them? Just, what was the purpose of killing them all? Apart from having cheap labour for a while, but if you get that problem, and they had a problem with the Jews, it seems, obviously, you know, Hitler was obsessed with it. Instead of killing them all, why don't they just, if they can truck them to concentration camps, they can truck them abroad, can't they? Out of Germany. That's problem solved. You don't need to gas these people by their million. You know, so the whole thing's very unfair, but politicians do strange things. I don't consider them wholly human, because I think anybody who wants to be a politician can't be all there, because it's such a short-lived career. And your one bad word, you slip up once, and your whole career could be down the toilet. And it very much depends, doesn't it, at the high levels, who's zooming who. Keep it a family show. He's not doing that with his private secretary, is he? Do you know he's got 3 of them on the go? What? No, a couple of birds on the side and his private secretary. Ah, we just don't know. But it's great while you're a politician, because think of the expense accounts, the yes milady, you know, or yes grovel, first class everything, you know, and a lot of them aren't worth the salt that God give them. So this is why nothing changes. They just, it's like seeing the same film with a different backdrop. Well, the story's boring now. The same old rhetoric is coming out of all of them in one way or another. Just phrase it a little bit differently. Okay, and it's look over here while we're screwing you over here. That's what it's all about. Even the Labour Party. It doesn't matter, Lib Dems, Labour Party, Conservative, whatever. That's why nothing changes, folks. Not really. Not the meat and the veg, you know, and the good stuff in the whole process. No. We get the scraps. Throw them a bone occasionally. Keep the peasants quiet. Let them think they've had a bit of a victory. But we know what it's going to be like in about 6 months, don't we, Charlie? That's the way it is. Cynical for sure. Bright, absolutely. Call me a cynic. But that's the way it is. So we've got to get savvy, folks, and realise is that don't put your trust in politicians, because they always, well, they'll never let you down by screwing you over, because they'll always screw you over, so you're forewarned, aren't you? So once you go into battle with the politicians and those of other parties, you know what's coming, because it's all dictated to. You think the politicians make the decisions? Do you think Keir Starmer makes the decisions about what the party is doing to Britain? No. It's coming from probably a bunch of the 12 families that run this place. They run the world. You know, ultimately, it's this pyramid, isn't it? As David Icke rightly says. You know, the power gets stronger, but the people get fewer and fewer. And at the top, these are the puppet masters that are fiddling the strings